I'm Alex Peavey. I'm a father of two middle schoolers, a boy and a girl, and a husband to my wonderful wife and amazing caregiver, Sarah. And I also am a cancer survivor. I've been dealing with two forms of stage four cancer, the first one coming in 2017, and then a second cancer came in 2020. And both of those were considered terminal cancers. So time has always been of the essence. And so it's been a big part of all of our lives, my family, for the past 6 years. But we've also tried to just live fully with cancer present. And mindfulness and meditation have been a part of my life since the age of 15, really. I was on a trip out west where we basically spent a month driving from North Carolina to Mexico and up the coast of California and back. And along the way, doing things like hiking the Grand Canyon and rafting the Snake River and rock climbing and camping out every night. And we were doing all of this doing. We were trying to achieve all these things, these climbs and these hikes. But then it was this moment where we were just asked to pause and reflect and be present and really look out over the Pacific Ocean, hear the sounds, use each of our senses to be aware of what was happening around us. And then it was a little bit of a gratitude practice after that. And that just stuck with me. And I began my own practice from that. And this was in the 90s, as I said, when I was in high school. And at the same time, the Chicago Bulls were winning world championships with Michael Jordan, and Phil Jackson, the coach, came out with a book called Sacred Hoops. And I thought it was all about basketball because that was my interest. And it actually is all about mindfulness and meditation and how he brought that to the Bulls, Chicago Bulls, during their world championships. And later he would bring it to the Lakers. And that's all relevant because I ended up choosing a path of coaching for my life. I coached college basketball for a while. Then I coached high school basketball, where I also was a school counselor and coached other sports as well, and began teaching mindfulness and meditation to students. It certainly became a source of medicine, really, when I became diagnosed with cancer. The fact that I had been practicing meditation since I was 15 and then found my way into teaching it all of a sudden, while I hope everybody I work with is able to take what they learn in performance and transfer it to life, all of a sudden I had to do that. And it became very real. Not that it wasn't before, but it took on a new level of depth in the context of terminal disease. So I have a motto that is fight and smile. And it actually comes from when I first got diagnosed with prostate cancer, metastatic stage 4. It still is in all of my vertebrae, in my hips, in my sacrum. Team I was coaching at the time in a high school here in Richmond had a game on that Tuesday, I believe. And it was either before or after the game, and I can't remember because there was a lot of anesthesia and medicine in between surgeries. I sent a text to the head coach because I was an assistant coach for this season. And I basically said to him and to the team some version of, if you love what you're fighting for, and if you love who you're fighting with, you can fight and smile and be sure that success comes from that. That in itself is the success, is that you're fighting and smiling. And what is important for me, and then they took that and ran with it and had a phenomenal season. And I came back and was able to coach. And the important thing that I want to say about fight and smile that people should understand, when I say smile, I don't mean don't cry. It's not false positivity. The fight part sometimes is where we sit in presence with whatever emotion arises. And we're not fighting that emotion, we're just sitting with it. And when we sit with those emotions as they are, it allows us to cultivate the peace that eventually settles in with that meditation, with that practice of be with the emotion I'm experiencing, and from that comes the smile. Is it perfect? No. Does it mean I smile all the time? Absolutely not. It means that I'm going to fight and I'm going to smile as an outcome of the practice in the meantime. So I came to know about the Living Dying Project because for years now I've been reading Ram Dass and listening to his talks. And then when I got diagnosed in 2017, there were some sleepless nights where I literally found myself pulling up a Ram Dass talk on YouTube or whatever I could find, a podcast, and just playing it on my phone, closing my eyes and falling asleep to it, taking in what I could, turning it into a meditation and falling asleep into the talk. I know it was August of 2022 where I was listening to Raghu Marcus interviewing Ram Dev, and I just decided to email the Living Dying Project in that moment at the end of that podcast. When I contacted the Living Dying Project, my primary question was kind of living the duality of being here, being alive, but really living 3 months at a time, because it's about the amount of time you get between scans and doctor meetings. And it doesn't necessarily mean I'll die in 3 months, but it means we'll find out if I'm dying in 3 months. So there's a duality that exists there. And there's this whole notion of non-duality that I was very curious about, because it ultimately, my goal is to be present with, as I've talked about, fight and smile, be present with everything that is thrown at us. And there are times where I'm with my family where I'm so elated, so joyful, and so happy. And then I get struck with sadness that I will not be here. And it's not a fear of dying or death. It's a fear of absence. It's a fear of not being with my family, not being here for my family. The Living Dying Project has allowed me to talk through that. It's truly spiritual hospice. And again, this was August of 22 that I got in touch because I thought I was dying. And in that time period, I have been able to talk through some of the hardest spiritual truths there are. When I was told there was a 3% chance I might live 5 more years, I did the math and realized I might not ever see my kids go to middle school. And this year, this September, they both entered fifth and sixth grade. And right now, I'm just living it. I'm taking them to school. I'm helping them with their music, whatever the thing is that's right in front of us. It's just the simple, everyday stuff that I look forward to. I don't remember who said this, but it's one of my favorite quotes. It's kind of goofy, but it's inch by inch, life's a cinch, yard by yard. It's really hard. And I'm enjoying taking it inch by inch right now.